Hi, I'm Melissa. Today we're going to be talking about what some of the artists are working on related to harvesting. Dave is going to be talking about some of the concept art that he's been working on for some of the resource nodes, and then he's going to show us some environment concepts as well.
Yeah. So basically what we have right here is just a bunch of designs for all the different type of resource nodes we might have in the game. So between stone nodes and metal and anything else we might have, I really just wanted to create a bunch of silhouettes so you would notice it right away if you found it in the environment. So basically on this list right here, I just have a bunch of different stone nodes that could be granite or limestone or slate.
But we also wanted the resource node itself to actually be sort of distinguishable from just environment rocks in the scene too. So he's come up with a silhouette that maybe looks like it's even been kind of hacked out a little bit, so it's slightly more geometric than you might see, so it just stands out a little bit but still feels like it fits in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you saw a metal node from a distance, I want you to know right away exactly what it is, especially like they have different color gradients and tints, so like you're looking for tin or iron, and you want to be able to identify it right away so you can get it before someone else does.
We might also do some things where the metal nodes will have like a little bit of a shine to them versus the stone might just have a gradient of color and then be a little bit more matte, so they also, not just silhouette, but some of their material differences kind of make them look more distinctive.
Right. And these are far from being final. We're still working on ideas where we might have certain type of gems that are kind of poking out of these stones, since there's a chance to actually pop a rare gem out of a normal stone node. So there's still ideas we're playing with, what colors we want to use, and maybe even different shapes if we have the time for different type of stones, but we'll have to see. Mm-hmm. And we also did some exploration on the trees as well. A lot of the trees in the game are going to get designed. And so a lot of these are just basically starting with silhouette and color and basically how far we want to push the style with them. So this was just a quick sheet, and there's still way more trees that we can do. But this was something to start with. And then like the other nodes, you'll be able to farm these for lumber and wood.
So the idea right now is that you should be able to come up to a forest and just start cutting away at the trees. And so right now, if you're used to Siege Perilous and Hunger Dome, there's a couple different kinds of trees in there, but we want to create a lot of variety so the player actually knows that what they're coming up to and what kind of resource that they'll be getting from that type of tree as well. And then you might also come up to a lumber mill in the world, and this is a concept Dave's been working on.
Yep, still in the progress of working this whole thing out right now. And basically trying to figure out if a lumber mill sat on a riverbank, how that would sit, and trying to figure out different props to pepper around the entire thing. And so we can build those out later and figure out how we're going to build it.
Yeah, so this is a lumber mill. You might also come across a quarry or a mine. So he's going to move on to those next, and you guys will get to see those a little bit later.
Absolutely.
So Doggett is going to talk to us today about how messy his desk is, and then he's also going to talk to us about his harvesting animations that he's working on.
So, for the harvesting animations, we wanted to kind of keep it generic. We didn't want to do a million different animations for like chopping down a tree or picking at a rock or whatever. And also, these guys are basically gods. So to make them feel more godly, we're going to have them draw the essence out of whatever they're mining, and then you pick up the nodes that happen afterwards. So here, I just finished the nice animations, and here he is drawing it out and then him bursting the effect. And so this has an intro, a loop, and an outro, so it can be, it doesn't have to be a fixed point in time. So if it's a bigger node, it might take a little bit longer to mine. So he'll be drawing it out a little bit more and then bursting it.
So when we get effects on this, obviously it's going to make a lot more visual sense. So right now, like he said, all of the characters are going to be doing the same animation, but we'll probably have some effects that are tied to the hand, to the thing that it's actually going to be harvesting from. And so you'll see like that action where his hand goes like that. Like Doggett said, when it bursts, we'll see the thing kind of burst out, and you'll see the loot pieces appear in the world next to the resource node, and then the player will go and collect those things afterwards. So now we'll go talk to Billy, and he can show us what some of the resource pieces might look like in the world after the character has harvested the node. So here we are. Billy is going to show us some of the resource objects that he's been working on.
Yep. So as you know, the new system for harvesting allows the player to move around the environment and find these special nodes that they can interact with. And after a set time of them harvesting that node's going to produce a bunch of in-world items that they can then go and pick up to put in their inventory. So what I'm working on right now is a visual kind of prototype looking at what some of those resource items could look like in the world. So here we have a couple different types of wood blocks that have come out of presumably a wood resource node. So based on the texture, and if you can see here, there's also some there's also kind of an outline color. We're playing around with different ways that we can communicate both the type of resource it is as well as its quality, because there's a lot of different types of wood, but even from the individual wood types, there could also be different hierarchies of strengths and elemental imbuements, things like that. Another thing that we've added as a part of our harvesting feature is now on our equipment screen, we have a concept of harvesting tools that are added to the sheet. And each one of these tools represents a different type of harvesting resource and node type that you are able to interact with. So like, let's say if you didn't have anything, you probably wouldn't be able to be very effective at harvesting anything. But if I had a wood axe, for instance, slotted into my my resource tool, I can then come back out into the world and then interact with the tree, and then all of a sudden, spray of goodies that I can then go and collect. So what's neat about this, from what our current item gathering system is, what this allows us to do is create a little bit more randomness and excitement around what happens when that node spews out its resource. Imagine going up to a stone node and it spewing out little chunks of stone, and they would have different materials and different colors to kind of designate which of the stone reagents they corresponded to. We've tried to come up with simple shapes. So like for the wood, it's just kind of a simple cylinder. For a rock, it would be more of a faceted cube, if you think of that. But then, we're trying to come up with an iconography in the 3D space that actually matches the 2D space pretty closely. But then we're leaning on stuff like material, and we're leaning on stuff like effects to communicate extra qualities about them. So for instance, we're looking at this screen right now, and the most basic of items just won't have a color. So we have kind of a gray stroke around those guys because they're supposed to be kind of your basic like birchwood or something. And then as the qualities go up, you might have a more colorful stroke to let you know, oh, this one is fortified in some way. And kind of following other visual languages in RPGs and MMOs, stuff like orange and purple would really call out as this thing is super rare, it's super special, and it adds an extra property to this reagent that it normally wouldn't have. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be really important when you're crafting, because our crafting system has a lot of ranges for the types of things that can come out. So you're going to want those more powerful reagents.
And at a glance, quickly, without knowing anything about that particular item, you'll know at least that that's something that's worth probably having. And if you're in a hurry or don't have time to really kind of pay attention to what the stats are of all those things, you could at least just at a glance know, I should probably just pick that up. I should pick the orange one up really quickly, and I may not care as much about those. Yeah,
building kind of like a visual hierarchy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Thanks, Billy.
No problem.
So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at some of the things the artists are working on lately. Join us back again for another update. So now we can go take a look at some of the resource. It feels kind of up.
Okay, try it not up.
Okay.
Hey, neighbor. So, what brings you to my desk?
Hey, Billy, can you?
Just tell me. Yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, Billy, can you show us some of the? Sorry. And here we are. Billy's gonna show us a little bit of what. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at
More verbal static, please.
I know. Thank you.
Do it for real. Why are you
Why are you putting your hand in
I
it?
know.
face on it? That's even worse than your lips.